Welcome back to my neck of the woods. On day 19, the first day of part 4 of this pantry challenge, we slept in, so we just had coffee for breakfast. We did leftovers for lunch, and then I made some potato soup and I had to make homemade crackers. We didn't have any crackers left, and I'm a cracker girl for my soups and stews. And then I made some tuna salad so we could have some sandwiches to go with it. I unfortunately lost my footage of making this dough. It was really easy. I just looked up butter cracker or DIY Ritz cracker. I'm not sure what it was called, but it was a pretty generic recipe for these. And then I have my potatoes cut up. These are from our garden, and I'm using up a little bit of turkey stock and ham broth that I had left over as my liquid. On day 20, we had pancakes for breakfast. I, of course, had peanut butter on mine. I made a chicken Alfredo for lunch, and I have a video of that because that was an interesting recipe. And then for supper that night, we had a marinated pork chop and garden corn. So our chicken Alfredo for lunch was an interesting situation. I found about a quarter of a tub of plain Greek yogurt that had been shoved to the back of the refrigerator, and it had frozen. And I thought, well, I bet I can use this. So of course I went to Pinterest. I looked it up. Sure enough, there are recipes to make Alfredo sauce from Greek yogurt, which is awesome because it's an extra protein punch. So that's what I did for lunch today. I just a basic Alfredo recipe. I'll put some ideas of recipes that are similar. I, of course, never follow recipes to the T, but I did so using the Greek yogurt. I added some of the bouillon because I was going to add a little bit of water, so that was my broth. Of course, shaky cheese, salt, pepper, Italian seasoning. On day 21, we all had something different. It was oatmeal protein shake or an egg sandwich. We had leftovers for lunch, and then for supper, I made a cheesy Mexican lasagna ish casserole. I just had a lot of Tex Mex components in the cabinet, and I decided to layer them together to make a casserole. So it had some refried beans, it had some Spanish rice, there was some ground beef with s- salsa mixed into it after it cooked, and then I did layers and put some nacho cheese that I found a can of in on top of it. Day 22, we had egg sandwiches, protein shake or oatmeal for breakfast. We had some leftovers for lunch, and then for supper I made lo mein. We love Chinese food, my son and I do anyway. And I like to keep the basic components like some toasted sesame oil, soy sauce, teriyaki marinade, some ginger. I like to keep that stuff on hand so that I can whip up a quick stir fry or lo mein. And that's what I did for this particular evening. I threw in we had some sugar snap peas that we flash froze. I threw those in as well, to use up some of the frozen garden vegetables. On day 23, we had egg sandwiches or protein shakes for breakfast, peanut butter sandwiches for lunch, and I made just good old American goulash for supper that night. I like to make just a plain one. I use tomato soup, canned tomato soup as my liquid base. This one I use ground pork instead of ground beef. I add some onion powder, garlic, pepper, and then of course the noodles. On day 24, we had smoothies or protein shake for breakfast. We had our leftovers for lunch. And for supper, I made a potato chili casserole. I took some of our garden potatoes because they have started to sprout, so I'm going to be making lots and lots of potato meals. I sliced those pretty thin. I did a little bit of oil and a bunch of seasonings, put them in the bottom of my casserole, and then I topped it with 2 cans of Hormel chili that I got on clearance for probably less than 50 cents a can about 6 months ago. So 2 cans of that on top, and then I baked it, and when it came out, I put about a cup of pepper jack cheese that I still had left over, from the last grocery haul, and baked it another 10 or so minutes to melt the cheese. On day 25 for breakfast, we had some muffins that I made, and I'll show you in a video following this. We had those with coffee. We had leftovers for lunch, and then for supper, we had just fried potatoes and sausage patties. We did some good old breakfast, and some added more muffins for that meal as well. So my walnut fig muffins have Walnuts that I've had in the cabinet for quite some time and I don't want them to go rancid. Some light brown sugar, flour. We still have some fig jam that was canned, I think, 4 years ago. So I'm trying to use that up during this challenge. A couple of eggs, and then not pictured, I do have some softened butter as well. The blueberry muffins, I just followed the recipe on the box and added a little dollop of strawberry jelly.
So I just got back from my second grocery haul of January. I did go over my budget, but not really, and I'll explain that as I go. So we really want some salads. We've been eating such heavy foods, so I hit the mother load of markdowns. I picked up a bag of spinach to go with the romaine that I have left. It was marked down to $1.03 for the bag. Some mushrooms, $2.37 for the pack. If you know anything about Kroger affiliate stores, you know these little red bags mean $1. When they have maybe that bag of apples, a couple of them were starting to rot. They have to break the bags down. They do smaller bundles and sell them cheaper. Some sweet potatoes. Hubby and I love those. Haven't had them in forever, so I'm kind of excited about that. I picked up a couple of bananas. Those were, I believe, 47 cents. I'll put a picture of my receipt after this video, but I think it was under 50 cents. The eggs, I don't even know what they were supposed to be because I had a coupon. When you're a frequent shopper, they send you a little bundle every month with some coupons, and I had a coupon for a free carton of eggs. And you better believe I took advantage of that. I think that probably saved me, I'm going to guess, probably about $5. And then Romas were on sale for $1.39 a pound. I just got 2 massive Romas. And avocados, that's one of the places where they didn't ring up correctly. And I'll show a little clip where I had it on my clipped coupons on the digital app, and for whatever reason, they didn't take it off. They rang up sale price, but not what they were supposed to. So they were supposed to be 67 cents each, but they rang up $1.25 each. So that was $1.16 over what I should have paid for those. And this block of cheese, there was a tag hanging there that said $1.99, and I don't even know what happened or why, but it rang up $2.49. And then this particular store that I go to, I don't even know why, but they always mark their milk down way before the expiration date. Like you can see, today is January 25th, and this is still good for another week, but they already had it marked down to $1.65. And I had a coupon for 65 cents off in that bundle, so I got that gallon of milk for $1. So the overage that I shouldn't have paid because they rang up wrong was $1.66, which would have made my total $11.33. And if you remember, I had $10.93 left in my budget. So I still technically went over about 50 cents. But if you want to get real technical, I'm not using this milk. When I buy milk like this, I typically just pour a little bit off and then I put it in the deep freezer. So get as technical as you want. My total was basically $10.33, but I paid more. And if you're wondering why I didn't just go in and have them correct it or fix it or see it at the register, don't go to the grocery store on a Saturday. It was so busy. There were people lined up. I was ready to get out of there. They were ready to be out of there. And it was a madhouse. I wasn't paying attention. I didn't feel like looking in the car. I just want to get home. And that's when I realized what they did. And it wasn't worth my gas money to go back and squabble over $1.66. So my total was $12.99. And I'm not mad. I'm a glass half full kind of girl. I'm a silver lining kind of girl. And this is a pretty amazing haul for $13. So I'm not mad. But technically, as far as the challenge goes, This was only $10.33. So I did stay in my budget, and I technically still have about 60 cents left over.
Thanks for joining me for this part 4 episode of my Pantry Challenge for 2025. I hope you're enjoying the content and the recipes and the ideas. And I hope you're inspired to just eat out of your cabinet and your freezer and your refrigerator. There's a lot more in there than what you think.